So, hey y'all, what's up? Yes, I have clay on my face, baby. Like, ooh, I just did a video of kind of like my self-care, my ritual new moon routine. So, this kind of goes with it, obviously, because I'm still wearing the clay mask. But I really wanted to talk about like psychic abilities. And it's interesting because today's a very powerful day, due to the new moon in Capricorn and also the 1/1 portal. It's also an 11-day. But what's super cool about like the whole psychic ability thing. So I had been searching something about psychic abilities, I believe. And when you type it in, it also comes up psychiatrist, right? And so me and my experience, I've seen multiple psychiatrists. I've been told multiple things about, that connect to my diagnosis, that, tell me that I'm hallucinating, all these things. And this has been since I was a kid, since I could remember, since before I was like 12. So I've been put in psych hospitals. I've been put in, hospitals mainly because of like my, experience with not wanting to be on this earth anymore. But also because like I would see things. I would hear things, I would feel things. And me growing up, like I wasn't surrounded by people that understood it in the way I understand it now. How psychic abilities are actually very, very connected to your intuition, or very powerful, or, once you become awakened and understand that it's actually not bad, it's like a gift, right? These psychic abilities are gifts. They're something special, and I'll get to that too, which is really funny. So like at a young age, like I experienced a lot of just weird shit. And to me now it's not weird, like it's my whole entire life now, like, talking to spirits, seeing spirits, feeling spirits, having that intuition, having that, understanding, that deeper understanding of the unknown and the unseen. And it's interesting because when I came across the whole psychiatrist, like you look at those two words and they're pretty much similar, right? It's like you go to a psychiatrist to be put on meds because you're hallucinating, because you're seeing things, because you have these things that are going on in your mind, and you take these medications to help suppress that. But what it really does, in my experience, what it has done to me, it's actually made me worse. I was on several different medications, like to where it was like 600 milligrams to either help me sleep, because I couldn't sleep at night, to either help me with, the racing thoughts and the hallucinations and all these different things. And a lot of these medications are just terrible for your body. They're toxic to your body in general. And I'm not saying don't take them, especially if because for me, I felt like I needed them. Now, everybody's different. This is just, I'm sharing my experience. And for me, like, I don't agree, or I've had to work on disconnecting from these medications. So I've had to work on understanding it for myself, because not everybody's going to understand it the way I understand it. And so this is not to say don't take your meds. This is not to say, don't do this, this, and this. This is just me sharing my experience and how I see what I see. And so with the psychiatrist medications, the psychiatrists that I've seen, I've had, one, very bad experiences with some of them. And then also the medication I was put on, multiple different medications, which not only made me worse, it created more health conditions for me. It created more, certain thoughts for me, but it also was a part of a lot of my weight gain as well too. So for me, I had lost, over 100 pounds before. When I was in Job Corps, when I was doing military training to become a firefighter, going into the military, all that, like, I was on top, right? And it was my dad's murder that kind of triggered all this, right? And so with seeing these psychiatrists and seeing these, taking these medications, it just accelerated it, because it's like, due to a lot of the stuff that I was going through when I moved to California, I didn't understand what was going on with me. And I believe it was like me awakening, but I didn't have a community, I didn't have people to kind of guide me or help me understand what was going on. I had been around a lot of chaos, I had been a lot of confusion. Me myself was already, I was drinking, and drinking is another connection to very spiritual warfare, unseen things. I was doing things that wasn't healthy, right? It was very unhealthy, it was very toxic, but it was because I didn't really understand what was going on. And so just these two words correlate. So seeing a psychiatrist, the psychiatrist, and this is, part of the matrix. This is part of something that is pretty much, like, I believe there's good psychiatrists out there, there's good therapists out there, and that's why I've really worked really hard to be more open about my beliefs and how I see the world, and with my spirituality, and the fact that I don't want to take meds, the fact that I want to do more holistic approaches. And it's worked for me. That's how I've really transformed my life. But there's certain doctors that I've come across, certain psychiatrists, certain people that I've come across that have this mindset, that have this belief as well, that I don't really know how to say it, but they don't understand it, right? They don't understand it for how I understand it, or as well, they don't respect it either. So even you look at scientists, there's people that just believe only in the science, only in the facts, but they don't have that open mind to really understand. And in a sense, it's their choice, right? Because I believe everybody has a choice to really expand their mindset, but at the same time, they choose to stay in this tunnel vision mindset, this one place. So I've had a lot of experience with that, with, medical professionals. Not all of them, but many of them, especially growing up, even with my epilepsy. I wasn't diagnosed till I was 14, but I started having seizures when I was 12. And I know it takes a while to diagnose, because a lot of doctors don't understand epilepsy and seizures. They understand it for it's an electrical circuit in the brain, but they don't understand it spiritually. At least some of them don't. The ones that I've had experience with. But the ones that I've also had experience with also told me that I was faking it. Told me a lot of horrible things. So this is why, there's a lot of connections to what I'm getting to. And it's interesting, because when I was 12, I started having these seizures. But it's also funny, because when I was 12, I started writing my first song was called I Am Special. And my first song that I wrote, I didn't understand it at the time. This is me getting into songwriting. I don't even remember how I started it. I know I always wanted to sing, right? Because I started singing church songs. But the whole writing concept, I don't even remember how that started. I just know I was 12 and my first song was called I Am Special. And so with all this coming back to the whole psychiatrist, psychic thing. So it's you look at those two and they're very, very similar, right? I believe the Matrix, and when I see the Matrix, I mean the part of reality that wants to limit you, the part of reality that wants to keep you small, that doesn't want you to own your power, that doesn't want you to step into your power, to understand the different aspects and how to truly be free, how to truly awaken yourself, become more self-aware, become more conscious. to believe that you're worthy enough to live the life that you desire. And so that's what I mean by the Matrix. The Matrix, it's controlled by, I believe, a lot of different powerful people. And so, and this connects to our healthcare, our government, certain things like that. And so for me, I've had to understand this. I've had to take my time in the last at least 2 years, but this is why I was drawn to a lot of the things that I did. The whole, military training, the whole going to school for criminal justice, firefighting, the whole healthcare, me working in the mental health care and the regular healthcare. I was a caregiver. I worked with people, not just elderly, but people with intellectual disabilities. I also have a brother that has an intellectual disability. The experiences that I've had, the experiences that I've had to go through to understand all this stuff, to awaken, to be able to not only understand it for myself, but be able to share this message with you to help you understand it in some way or form as well too. And so if you look at the word psychiatrist, psychic, it correlates. They want you to believe that you're crazy. They want you to believe that, this is all an illusion. They want you to believe it's not real. They want you to believe so many different things. These are just like the things that I've experienced, in my life, to where it's like this is what I had been taught, that having these hallucinations, having these, certain things are actually not what it is. It's not really happening when it really is, because it's me. And that was the frustrating part for me to experience. So it's like you're not only, being vulnerable with asking for help, going to these certain people that, you call professionals, but they also don't really understand it for themselves. They may have gone to school for it and whatnot. And that's awesome. And they may, their intentions may not even be bad, right? They may just be wanting to help as well too, and that's why they provide the medication. That's why they do all these things. And for me, it's like there's no bad intentions there for them either. It's like I understand it now for how I understand it, and that's why I've worked so hard to not only get off medications, but also be open with the psychiatrist, be open with my therapist, be open with these professionals that I do see about my spiritual understanding and why I don't want to be on these certain meds, and work with them instead of just cutting them off completely. Because I've done that too. I've went that route, and I would always come back to the fact that I either need to be in the hospital, put back on meds, or have these episodes, I guess the best word I could use. And so even with, religion, it's the same thing. It's like working, with certain people to try and understand the religious aspect, the beliefs, the different religions, the different, like, why is this the truth, but these people are not the truth type of, energy. Like, have them explain it deeper, going back in history, going back in time. But even that, it's still like, okay, that's what we've been told over time. That's what we've been conditioned. So yeah, that makes sense, but at the same time, it doesn't. Because it's like, why do we continue to listen to these people? Because they say this is the truth. Like, that's like me, like, calling somebody out saying that they're lying when they're really telling the truth. And, me, I just think they're lying, but they're actually really telling the truth. It's similar. And so for me, like, just trying to really get down to the bottom of everything, right? And really not go insane at the same time. Hence, I do have a song called Insane, by the way. But throughout this journey and throughout coming across these words, these experiences and understanding, it's helped me not only get to where I'm at today, but helped me see the world in a different light. And it's so powerful because you not only look at certain words, because you can even look at, the English language, right? It's changed over time. And you can even look at society. You can look at the different places you go and how they speak and how they utilize their English. Because English is English, but it's different in many parts of the world. And this is all over. Like, you can go to Europe and speak English, right? But it's a different type of English. And that's kind of what I'm talking about. It's your perception. It's like putting the pieces together, like psychiatrist and psychic. They're the same thing. They're just different perceptions. So you see a psychiatrist for these things, you take these meds, and it limits yourself. At least that's what I believe. And that's why I've disconnected from that. Now, I've had good psychiatrists. My last psychiatrist actually understood where I was coming from. And I don't need to see a psychiatrist anymore. And so, okay, the clay is like super dry, so here in a second I'm going to go take it off because like I can barely talk. That's why I'm laughing the way I'm laughing. But yeah. And so that's why I really wanted to get on here and share this message and just talk about this, because this is how I see the world. This is how I perceive things and identify things in a way. Not only symbolically, but, in this physical world, it's literally right in front of our faces. We just have to awaken ourselves to understand this. And sometimes these certain things that we go through. So me with, the experience with like my alcohol, my marijuana. I also did shrooms. There's certain things that you do because, people say, well, weed and shrooms will help you awaken. And you have to do that in a certain way, right? But for me, there was times where I was like, I just, I overloaded. And so it kind of got me into this place where I was like so awakened. I was so like... I had a bad trip, y'all. I had a really bad trip one time, and that's another story in itself. But there's these experiences that you go through to really, I believe, help you see the world for what it is. And what I mean by that is we can look at it as helping us, and that's how I perceive it now. It helps me see the world for what it is. And it helped me also choose better. Yet we can also look at it as, another perception where it didn't help me. It made me worse. It fucked me up. It, did so many things. And there's been times where like, yeah, it did fuck me up. But at the same time, it also helped me, right? And so it's really all about your perception. It's really about you coming into yourself, sitting with yourself, and really just taking that time to not really overthink it, because for me, I can do that. But just really, have this inner knowing within yourself that something's going on within yourself. Something, there's a certain feeling. And if you know. Some people just, I believe, don't have that ability to get to a place where it's like they understand that this helped them. Especially if it's like a traumatic event or something negative, right? Because we're all on our own individual journey. And that's really what it is understanding it for yourself in your own way. And it can be hard. It could be exhausting. It could be a lot. It could be very overwhelming. And that's, that's part of it, right? But it also can be relieving. It can also be positive. It can also be rejuvenating. And I use those words because sometimes for me it's really hard to find the right word to use, and sometimes there's no word to use on how to describe what I'm speaking about. But at the end of the day, what works for you will work for you. And to just know that you're meant to be here. You're here for a reason. Whether it's to awaken, whether it's to discover something, whatever it may be, you're here for a reason. There's so much more to this reality, this world, this planet, this realm. There's so much more to what we know currently, and what we've always known. And so really just, if you haven't, and if you have, challenge yourself. Challenge yourself to become more aware, become more awakened, become more conscious, become more understanding of the different perceptions, of the different perspectives, the different understandings of whether it's religion, whether it's beliefs, whether it's whatever it may be for you, to help you connect to why you're here, what is your purpose, and what you truly want to do within this lifetime. Thanks for watching.